You are live. All right. Hey, everybody. We'll give y'all a few minutes to hop on, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for hanging out. I'm really excited. Today is launch day for Wrapped Up in You. It's the second book of the Real American Country series, and it has been quite a journey getting this book published because I will just say that writing it was fun, editing it was less fun because we'll get into that. Anyway, tonight I have a really special guest who knows all about editing the book, my editor, Ashley. Ashley Andrews, who I've known for about 39 years. She's probably my longest running friend, if I was going to be honest. I can't remember any friend before her. Because lucky me, she was born and immediately had to be my friend. So there's that.
Friends by force.
I mean,
Default?
and then she grew. That's right. We were friends by default, and she grew to like me on top of all that. So that kind of worked out very nicely. And so after a few years, I suckered her into editing a book. I mean, hey, here we go. But before we jump into the conversation about writing and editing and books and all of that jazz, I'm going to do the drawing for the launch day giveaway. I had a giveaway running in the Book Nerds group on Facebook. It's called Jennifer's Book Nerds, and it's an exclusive private group. And then we had an event all day today where there were trivia questions and all that. And we are giving away a little prize pack that includes a copy of the book, a tote bag, some pens, all kinds of fun stuff that's in the box. So I'm going to do the giveaway in my little tiny thing. I'm going to tap to spin, and we're going to see what happens. We had such a fun time just answering trivia questions about the book and that kind of thing. Oh, here we go. Abigail! Abigail is the winner of the giveaway. I will be sending a message your way this evening to get your mailing address, or you can send it to me if you're watching live. You can send it to me on my Facebook page. Kirsten's here. Yay! She is one of my favorite readers, like all-time favorite readers. She is...
Just kidding. I'm not.
That's not related to me. And I did say one of, but she has been there from the beginning, and she has influenced and shared and posted and retweeted and all these things. And so I'm so glad that she's here, and hopefully maybe I can convince her to join us later to talk about, talk about the book and that kind of thing. But first, Ashley. Thank you so much for being here. Like, I am so glad that you had a chance to join me. I've actually thought more than once that I should have you on my podcast, and like, this is way better. Not even gonna lie. This is so much.
This is so much lower pressure. I would feel like
less.
I think on a
podcast. There's no pressure, no stress. We're just like, we're just gonna be us tonight, and so we'll see what happens. Okay, so. You've always been a reader. This is not a secret. I don't think that I'm telling anybody a secret there. But did you ever think that you would be an editor?
Yes, but not of a book. So originally when I went to college, I wanted to be a journalism major. And then I realized I was not liberal enough to be a journalism major. And so I switched to public relations. But I still took a lot of journalism classes. And so I took a newspaper editing class my junior year of college. And it was the semester before I was getting married in December. And my professor's name was Bruce Swain. Not Bruce Wayne, Bruce Swain. And he was a Quaker. He was a really cool guy. I really enjoyed it. I took a couple of his classes and I really enjoyed it. And he used to work for a newspaper, and he would answer the phone, Bruce Wayne, and people would think that it was a prank call. Anyway, not part of the story. But he was a super cool guy, and he approached me, and he wanted to send me to like a summer editing internship in New York City that next semester, or no, it was summer. It was definitely summer. And he was talking to me about it, and I was like, so here's the thing, because it was like staying in dorms at NYU, I think, or something. I was like, I'm getting married in December, and I can't like run off and leave my husband for a summer when we'd been married for less than a year. I was like, is there? And he was like, well, I mean, I'm sure he could like stay in a hotel or something. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of money you think I make. I work at Bagel Heads. Anyway, so yeah, so I did, like, I apparently had some skill for it, and I thought I would maybe do like some copy editing for a magazine or a newspaper or something, and the Lord just had different plans, and so I did not take that route. I won't say I've never used my public relations degree or journalism editing classes, but it hasn't come up a ton in the last, however many years since I've graduated college. But yeah, I that was on the table, and then it just wasn't anymore. So then, yeah, there was a good, 18, 20 years that it was not on the table. So no, I did not envision ever editing a book. That was a really long answer to that question.
No, it's a good answer. There was a lot in that answer that just made me go, I remember, but it has been 20 years since all of that happened. Yeah. And so I had forgotten about that. Yes. And Bruce Swain, I don't know if I actually knew that story or not, but that's fantastic.
Great name.
His mom had ideas, I guess.
He's a Quaker, so he's probably not on Facebook, or I would totally find him and see what he's doing with his life now.
That is so wild. So you were going to be the next Rory Gilmore or whatever, like you were going to...
Man, who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I realized very quickly that I was much too conservative to actually be successful in the journalism world, and school especially.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. So okay, so you thought you would be an editor one day, but not of books. So what was your first thought when I came to you and said, "Hey, what are your thoughts on editing a book?" And it wasn't even the Real American Country series. Like your first book that you edited for me was The Lost and Found.
That's right.
And so what was your first thought when you were like?
It was less about the editing and more about, I don't think Jennifer's going to like it if I criticize her.
That's a valid concern. Like I was concerned about that too, because
it's like living with your friends. Like you can be friends, but maybe you shouldn't live with your friends, which I guess we did that and we survived. We lived together for 2 years as adults.
We did, but we've also had a very different relationship. One, we're sisters, right? Not just friends. So we had lived together our entire lives. So that wasn't a problem. But yeah, I was concerned about your having to criticize me too. And so I told myself before I ever asked you, I was like, okay, can I handle that? Because that does change the dynamic of the relationship. And I'm pretty sure that I told you at the beginning, I was like, hey, you're just going to have to be blunt and honest with me.
Well,
don't try to filter.
I feel like we had a conversation because I think I asked you, I was like, okay, if I tell you that I don't like something, like, are you going to be mad at me personally? Like, you can be mad at me as an editor, but are you going to be mad at me personally? So that was really my first thought.
Well, and I don't think I've ever, because we have so similar opinions about everything. Like we have a lot of the same, except commas. I like them. You tell me to stop using them as much. Like it is what it is. But I like glitter. So I use it in commas. No, it was definitely nerve-wracking because I didn't even let Rob, when I wrote No Matter What, and I had a different editor for that one, which was a learning experience in and of itself because and I think it was a good thing that you weren't my first editor because I learned a lot about the process. Do I wish your style had been on the first book? Absolutely. I think I would have liked the final product more, but
well, if you would stop writing books, we could go back and do something about that.
I can't stop. That is what it is. But I didn't let Rob read it until I was pretty much done with it. Like I didn't let him look at my work because it's part of you that you're putting out there, right? And so yours just says no.
I mean, thankfully you are super talented, and I don't have to give a whole lot of developmental feedback. I'm mostly just making sure you keep track of your names and dates and that kind of thing. So, like, there's really content-wise not a ton of developmental stuff that you leave for me, which is nice.
I don't know. I seem to remember in the first book you were like, you've got to cut something. I agree. Well, it was 130,000 words.
Listen, it's not a Lord of the Rings trilogy, sister. The big
fall when you're ready. Fall when you're ready, and when you're ready again, and when you're ready again and again. No, it was so long. So long. And I struggled with that so badly. And you were so kind. You were like, you really should cut it. But you never said you have to cut it. You were just like, you really should cut it. And I was
It
like,
is your baby. I mean, yeah, yeah.
and I knew it needed to be cut. I did. I told you that I knew it, but I was
And it wasn't because it
struggling
was
to let it go.
bad. Like nothing needed to
Right.
be cut because it was bad. It was just not necessary.
It was too much. It
That's
was
the
too much.
journalism part. Yeah, that's the journalism.
And it still ended up being 120,000, I think. It was still it's a hefty book. It is a hefty book. But you're taking a kids from kindergarten to 10 years after high school, you know. So
Well,
like
and it's part of her character too. Like I feel like she's your character is a literary person.
Yeah.
So she's going to be wordy and she's going to be flowery and she's going to express herself. And so I don't think that was problematic because I think it just added to who she was.
yeah. Oh yeah, I think so too. So your first thought was, is she going to be able to take my criticism?
Uh-huh.
Do you think I took your criticism okay the first time you had to criticize something?
Well, I mean, I was a little disappointed about my Christmas gift that year. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't think you even had my name that year. No. I think it worked out really nicely. I think it was pretty seamless collaboration, really. And honestly, my second thought was, oh my gosh, I'm so slow at this, and she's going to be ready to go, and I'm so slow. And so I think you were patient with me because it was a learning curve for me as well. It still is. I mean, there's always something to learn. We're on a journey together with all of
Wouldn't want to go with anybody else.
That's great. That's great. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it was all sunshine and rainbows, but I don't think you were ever mad at me personally. And I think more just unsure, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we were both maybe a little.
Yes,
I think a little bit.
We did.
One.
We definitely
Whereas,
we tested the waters.
We did not tiptoe as much. I was just like, no, seriously, chill with commas. And so it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you threatened me that day, that was
Stanley will come after you.
Stanley. Yes. Oh my goodness, Stanley. I love him. Yeah, the Lost and Found is also a different box altogether because it's a totally different genre, right? Like it's Christian fiction, and there was suspense to it. It's different to write that even, like, to be honest. Like when I shifted over to contemporary, I was like, wow, this is a whole different ballgame. There's a lot more freedom to be had, but there's also a lot more storylines to keep straight.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a little bit more of a rabid fan base for these kind of books, you know, for any of the romance genre. I feel like the fan base has expectations and they have, you know, the tropes that are their favorites and the kind of heroes and heroines that are their favorites. And so they have this kind of expectation. Whereas with kind of a drama, I don't feel like it's quite as rabid.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a nice word to call it, but I think that
but it is
are a little bit rabid.
They absolutely are. They absolutely
in
are.
the best way.
I'm one of them. It is what it is. Like, I mean, I read what I write a lot of times. There you go. I like that. Yes, we're very passionate about passion and romance and love. Yeah. Okay, so real quick, if anybody has a question or a comment, you can put them in the comment on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching live, and we will get that comment and question, and we will ask it and answer it live. I mean, be respectful, but I don't think anything's off limits, really.
We're good.
So throw those questions or comments out there. Okay, so speaking of genres, Real American Country is contemporary romance, but every single book, now you've seen either a rough draft, you've seen 4 out of the 5. Yeah. And I told you about what the 5th one was about, though. Yeah, like the redemption arc.
Actually, no, I have not read that one, but I have seen it. Yes, I have seen
it. But you know what the trope is.
We did go over that one, yeah.
Okay, so of the 5, which of these has been or will be, you think, your favorite to edit?
I feel the most connected, I think, to Fall When You're Ready. I don't know, Jordan and Rachel seemed like real people. They seemed like people that I would talk to and know and be friends with. I think knowing that you wrote some of our childhood hometown into that made it really special. But I'm in the middle of book 3 right now. And I feel like the emotional connection to those characters, I'm trying not to give any spoilers here, but the emotional connection to those characters feels stronger. I think just the scenarios that you've put them in, the kind of pressure and growth and all of that, I think that I kind of am leaning towards book 3 being probably my favorite. I like an element of the thrill as well.
Right.
And there's a bit of thrill in book 3. And I don't know if I have the emotional fortitude for 5, but I will get there. So
Kirsten says, I second that. I love Jordan and
Yes.
Rachel. And I think the reason we connect so much with them too is, like you said, it is based on our hometown. We grew up in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And so there were so many things about it. I loved that we lived 2 miles from the beach. So you had the coastal town with the tourists and the snowbirds, but 2 miles in, we were kind of more, what would you even call it? Like,
kind of like country beach.
it was a country beach. We lived on a lagoon.
It was a
right?
shipping town. It was a little
Yes.
fishing village is what it felt like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the lagoon, that when you read Fall When You're Ready, the lagoon is literally where we went and hung out regularly. Like that was the whole vibe and everything. More than once we have been down there and I thought I need to go take pictures of the lagoon and so I could share them. So that next time I go down there, I'm going to do that. But yeah, I think
because
that's
we didn't
why.
have digital cameras. Like I have all these memories in my head, but we didn't have pictures because you don't take a film camera to the lagoon. Like you just like it was
maybe the waterproof underwater disposable camera.
But you
But
wouldn't
it
be
was
able to see
murky.
anything because it's a lagoon. It's like murky. It's not. This is not destined. This is
Exactly. Sherry says, for someone starting to read your books, where would you suggest they start? Well, I think that is kind of depending. Are you wanting Christian fiction or are you wanting sweet contemporary romance? I will tell you, I don't write spice in my books. They are squeaky clean because I want my 14-year-old to be able to pick it up and read it. I don't want to be
I
embarrassed
think
to
our
have it on my
dad would
shelf.
disagree with that, but his level of spice is pretty low tolerance.
Very low. So funny story. And Sherry, I'll answer what I think in just a second, but funny story. So in No Matter What, in my first book, No Matter What, the female main character references having taken a shower with her husband, like references that she has done that because they're married, right?
Not
They
at all
are
descriptive.
adults. No,
Very
she
close
just
door.
says, yes, like she just made the comment that she missed the days when they did that. You know, like seasons happen, right? My dad was like, I can't believe you wrote that in your book.
So funny.
And, you know, he's half joking, half not. I know this, and Daddy, if you're watching, hi, love you, but you did it. It was funny. Kirsten says to start with Fall When You're Ready. I agree. I think that Fall When You're Ready it's a fantastic place to start. It's a sweet second chance romance. Yeah.
I love The Lost and Found and No Matter What. But I think that you became significantly like a phenomenally, exponentially, that's what I'm looking for, exponentially better writer by the time you got to Fall When You're Ready, because you had those 2 books under your belt already. And so the first 2 are really good. And I enjoyed them thoroughly. The story's amazing. The characters are really easy to connect to. But I think that your just skill as a writer and your character development, your storyline development is just that much better with Fall When You're Ready. So I think that is a great place to start.
So that means a lot. I'm not fishing for compliments. That means a whole lot, like coming from you, especially coming from you. It's one thing to have somebody I don't know say that and be like, oh, thanks. But I'm like, I know what you really think about
I don't
books.
have to be nice to you.
You don't.
I love you though.
I really, really don't. You're welcome, Sherry. So let's see. Oh yeah, well, and talking about which book you like the most. You said book 3. So book 3, I've got to take down my production management page for Wrapped Up in You because it's out today. And now Let Me Love You, the production management page, is on my wall. And it says that I should be sending it to beta readers on January 17th. And so I've already written the first draft. You're going through it and that kind of thing. So I don't have a problem talking about it. So I will just say, I don't know if nice. Yeah. You know, she doesn't. We've paid that tax. That's what it is. Book 3 is called Let Me Love You. And it is kind of a suspense, right? It is.
Yeah.
It's less about Real American Country, the reality TV show that the thing is based on. It's less about that competition. There's more about the tour, I think. You get a little more about the tour. But it's really, they're all standalones, but this one it's different than the rest.
It is. It's very different. It surprised me how different the whole tone was. But I love a little bit of a thrill where you're like waiting for the shoe to drop. Like you almost know that something's coming, but like it's not a jump scare, but it's like you just know it's coming and you're just like on the edge of your seat waiting for it. And I think that adds a nice little element. Yeah,
Carmen, suspense, yes. I think romantic suspense is probably one of my favorite tropes. But it's so easy to become cheesy with it. And so that is something that I try really hard.
Too. Like it's easy to get so heavy that it's like, okay, I got to put this down and come back to it.
Yes.
Whereas I think there's enough levity in it as well to make it.
Yes. Yeah. Stop teasing me. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Book 2 just came out, so I really shouldn't tease too much because I want you to love book 2. You need to know Nash and Cassidy. Like they have a very unique story. There's it's really funny because in Fall When You're Ready, you only see you kind of see Cassidy more than you see Nash. Nash is a blip on the page. Yeah. Cassidy and Christopher Jordan, who's the main character in Fall When You're Ready, they have a friendship that they kind of formed on the show. And so you kind of see that friendship a little bit more so in the end. But why all of a sudden they were just like, hey, we have a story, you need to tell it. I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, did Nash surprise you? Is that why he wasn't in Fall When You're Ready that much? Like, did he kind of sneak up out of nowhere?
Yes, like, and I don't want to give away like where he comes in, but if you have read Fall When You're Ready, and towards the end where you see Christopher Jordan and Cassidy having a very specific conversation, this is well after the competition has ended, and you see Cassidy helping Jordan through a certain situation when they're adults, like right after, and she makes a comment about Nash, and I was like, so clearly something happened there.
He was there, yeah.
We just got to dig it out and see what it was. And so, yeah, I think Nash really, he was like, I want to be in the story too, which kind of fits his personality.
It really does. It really kind of wedged himself in there.
He did. But yeah, I like, I like Nash and Cassidy. I love Cassidy. I love how, like, she said, I want something different for my life and I'm going to go after it. And I was like, I got you, girl. Like, I felt that.
I know it's a weird thing to say about a book character, but I love her wardrobe, at least how it is in my head. Like, however I pictured it, like, I love her style, her look, like, everything about her. Like, I want to be friends with her and maybe go shopping with her.
Her fashion sense is a lot like yours.
She is way more fab than I am.
Her decision. Oh, Kirsha says, I like her decision making. Yeah. Like when she knows what she wants, she goes after it. And she's not afraid to say, hey, I'm kind of done with this.
But not in an impulsive way, like in a very thoughtful way. She's wise beyond her years.
Exactly. Oh yeah. And when you read the blurb, you find out, and just in the blurb on the back of the book, that, she's dealing with pressure and she's kind of over the spotlight. Well, clearly she ends up back in it. Right. Yeah. But that was after a very long thought process about how do I get back here and how do I make this work? Is this where I'm supposed to go? I don't know.
Very strong-willed. So did you base her on me? Because I see Kirsten saying very strong-willed. You said her fashion sense is like mine. So am I Cassidy? I can't sing that well. Definitely can't play the violin.
Can you play the fiddle?
Not even a little bit. And I know because we bought my youngest daughter a violin and I've tried it and it is not pretty. The violin is pretty. It's blue. The playing is not pretty.
Has she figured out how to play it?
No. I bought one of those DVDs and she's like watched it once and she just likes it to make noise.
I mean, I get it. It's kind of like a harmonica or a kazoo. Like, I don't know
She's
what to
pretty
do
good
with
at
it,
a
but it's fun.
harmonica, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So funny. I should write a book character based on her.
Oh, I don't know who wants to read that. She's a
She is
redhead, for those
special.
of you who don't know, and
She is. She
gingers are
is
always
the
special.
well, and see, she is like the stereotypical redhead. She's not like my redheads. My
That's true.
redheads are little Hufflepuff redheads.
Uh
Yours
huh.
is like a redhead. No offense to
Yeah, she got
redheads. I
started
love
in the
them.
Ravenclaw, but I imagine there's like a Slytherin wing off of that. I don't know.
Little slither claw. That's so funny.
We've
Oh
gotten
my
way off
gosh.
track. I'm so
We
sorry.
did get off track. Sorry. That's okay. The violin, Cassidy, she plays it. It's what it is. Um, so do you think that you will continue editing when I bring you books and be like, hey, do you want to edit this? Or do you think
Unless
there
you
will ever
get
be a
picked up
point?
by some like big time publisher, you know, I think it's as
Kirsten's a
fun.
Slytherin. Um, I I like self-published. The only reason I would go traditional is if I was changing genres completely. Like if I
Mhm.
was taking a big turn into left field. I've got that urban fantasy
Mhm.
types. What would you even call it? I guess it's urban fantasy.
Yeah,
Deep State Magic that I started
I
working
know, and
on.
I want to read that book.
I
I've
want
only,
to finish
it's a
writing it.
blurb, and I want to read that book.
I know I've made it like 25 pages into writing it, and it's like, this is so fun. Like, it's really fun,
Yeah,
but it requires so much brain power, which is so different. I mean, not that romance doesn't require brain power, but it's a
your
happy
world
clouds.
building in fantasy, you were
Yes.
building an entire universe from the ground
Ooh.
up. Uh,
Kirsten says, ooh, a big turn, intrigue. Yes. I have to have some secrets. But I did start, and our dad was like, hey, when are you going to finish that? And he's asked multiple times. And I'm
I
like,
know,
I
it's
cannot
so
because
good.
it requires so much focus.
No, I would love to keep editing as long as you can be patient with me. I do have a real job that I have to go to. So, you
Lame.
gotta get the nights and weekends. So as long as you can be patient with me, I enjoy it. I think it's great.
Well, see, that's the bonus part of I have written books 3 and books 4,
Yeah.
so I can work on book 5 while you're editing book 3, and it's
Yeah.
fine.
It's
We've
great.
got that worked out, and that's why we have a schedule, that's one
Yeah.
of those things that you have
Also,
to,
you know
right?
me. You know I can't work without a deadline. I'm gonna push it until the very end of the deadline.
It'll be the
Um,
best work ever. It'll be fantastic. Oh. Okay, so back to the audience real quick. Does anybody have questions that they are just dying to ask Ashley? It can be about anything. It could
got
be about
39 years worth of stories.
ooh, yeah, that's scary.
Should we
Because
explain Stanley? We referenced Stanley, but I didn't explain him.
oh, please explain Stanley.
So we
Oh,
were trying to figure out like kind of how we were going to go back and forth, and we were just using a Google Doc for editing stuff. And all of her like I stopped suggesting on the commas and just started doing it because there were so many greens and so many like comments. And a couple of times it was like there would be a comment randomly and we couldn't find what it was linked to, or I don't know, just like glitches and all of that. So in one of these comments, suddenly there's a bear emoji. It's just the face of the bear emoji, and it was one of the comma comments. And was it you or me that one of us posted this bear emoji by accident? And so then it became a whole thing, and we named him Stanley, and he appears when there are too many commas because he likes to
he
eat them.
also he eats the comments, and he also, when you see, if you ever, I don't know if y'all are like me and read the acknowledgments. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But Stanley always makes it into the acknowledgments because we couldn't do it with Stanley. Like,
True,
he is a comma eating bear, and so he is he's
a
always in
faithful
the
friend.
acknowledgments.
He's a
He
faithful friend.
is at all times, and he bears with us so generously all the time. It's so bad.
That's true.
But so if you get to that point, you're like, there's a bear. Who is
Why?
Stanley? That is Stanley. That is
Mhm.
why he's there.
It is true. It is true.
Oh,
He was a happy
that's
little
so funny.
accident.
He is, and we love him. Editing is an interesting process, um, because we go back and forth, and we still haven't found like the perfect solution
Yeah.
for how we edit stuff. But I love when I go in and you're like, you just erase, or you mark through stuff, and you're just like, this sentence just no, like,
Uh-huh.
like, why do you
Uh-huh.
need this? I actually kind of enjoy that now. I
Oh,
didn't at
good.
first. but I
Yeah.
kind of enjoy seeing it because I'm like, I know that every change you make is to make it better, right?
Yeah.
There's never been a time where I thought she's trying to write my book. Like I've never once thought that. But I am one
And
of those
usually
people that
it's
likes.
not even like it's not like a this is bad thing. It's a hey, how can we make this better? This language is
Yes.
a weaker way to say. Let's just try to find a stronger way to say this. You know, Jennifer really likes passive voice. I don't love passive voice, and so I'm like, passive, passive. I'm not passive aggressive. I'm aggressive aggressive. This is passive. I'm never really aggressive. I'm just like, hey, this could be stronger. Why don't you try this? And usually it's not even what I suggest. It's like some in between variation of what we've come up with too. I think when you change it,
A lot of times.
yeah. And so it's never big things because, like I said before, development is not the core of what I do because the development is already excellent.
Well, and I attribute that a lot to beta readers too. Like I know
Yeah.
you take the first pass at developmental
Mhm.
just to say, hey, you really shouldn't send this to anybody ever.
Or hey,
And
did you
then
see that you changed her name halfway through the book? That's-
like you spelled it 3 different ways.
uh-huh, yeah.
Fortunately, I haven't done that yet.
No, you
But okay, so in book 3, the girl's name, her name is Kinsey, and more than once I've had to go back and be like, did I put an E on the end of that or no?
Uh-huh.
Like, there's no E on the end of Kinsey, but I have to check every time.
There was a last name in Fall When You Were Ready that I was just like, this may be how she intended to spell it, but I just want to make sure in case it comes up later. And so I had to double check that one because it was a weird last name. I don't even remember which character that was that had the weird last name because it was like a blip.
Oh, it was Willow
that's
Grayson,
what-
and
that's
that
right,
it was. Yep, it was Willow. Yeah, no, that. But I send it to beta readers, and they are huge help in the developmental. And then we come back together, and we're like, "Hey, let's see how this works," or whatever. So there's a lot of editing, not just by you, that goes into my books.
Yeah,
There's a lot
definitely.
because you
So
get
one of
first
the-
pass.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
What'd you say?
I was gonna say you get first pass,
Mhm.
beta readers get second pass, and then we go at it again, right? Like
Yeah, I
I'll
think
read it
I
and then you
read-
go at it. So
I think I read Wrapped Up in You completely through about 5 times, and then I
and
read
I'm
chunks of it in different settings, but all the way through, I think 4 or 5 times. So
Kirsten would be the worst editor. Let's me too. Listen. That's why I have you on the art team, Sweet Pea.
That's right.
Like, there's a reason.
Everybody
We know
has
our
their
jobs.
things. Yes,
That's
everybody's
right.
That's good. Well, and I think my kind of gold standard when I in the first pass is what parts pull me into the story and what parts interrupt the story. What parts make me go, wait, what? Did I have to reread a sentence? Did I have to think about and go, does that match what she said earlier? And so that's kind of my first pass is always just what pulls me out of the story and what keeps me in. And then of course I try to read it the first time without like the detail things of commas and periods and spelling and all of that. But like I read book 3 on my Kindle, and so I would just add little notes on my Kindle so that I could remember to go back. So I wasn't fixing things, but I was just wanted to remind myself of little things here and there. But yeah, anyway, I think that's kind of in any book, you don't want to be pulled out of the moment. You want to absorb into the moment.
Well, and there have been Kirsten. She says, "I like my commas and semicolons.
Oh, I love
Semicolons, I haven't
semicolons.
see, and I
I
don't
like
use them that
M
often.
dashes, too.
I
love
use
M
the
dashes.
heck out of M dashes. There was one point where you were like, "That's too many M dashes."
Yeah, no, you got well, and because you hadn't used them like the entire book, and then it was like for 3 chapters, everybody had a dash. I was like, what?
I was like, "Oh, I learned a new skill. Nothing I can do."
I do have to say, so I'm a big Terry Pratchett fan as well, and I do love footnotes. You don't have any footnotes in your books, but if you ever wanted to visit footnotes, I love footnotes.
I am not 100% sure on how I would even utilize footnotes, to be
Probably not
honest.
in
It
this
sounds
series.
fun.
Maybe in Deep
Yeah.
State Magic. You could have some.
Oh, guarantee you in Deep
Mhm.
State Magic. Yes. I think that would be necessary.
Yeah.
Because that's how you
They're
keep
not
up
fun to
with
read
the.
on a Kindle, though. Footnotes are hard to read on a
They,
Kindle.
no, but they have made it easier where you can go back and forth much easier
true.
than you used to be able to.
That's
So at least there's that. Oh my gosh. There, I
My train
remember.
is
So
hopping off the track real bad right now. I'm so sorry. I'm like,
no, well, I was just gonna say that, I was thinking about when we were editing Wrapped Up in You, there was a time where I was like, I am so bored with this book. I was bored reading that book. And it wasn't because I'd read it so many times. I could read Fall When You're Ready over and over again and not have a problem. I've read Let Me Love You twice now and I haven't had a problem. But I was so bored with Wrapped Up in You that I was like, help me fix this. Like, what
yeah,
is wrong with this? And we did some major rearranging, and I cut what 10,000 words out
it
of
was a
that
lot.
sucker.
It was a lot.
And
I think you were deep in
yeah,
the weeds of details. I think
I think so too.
you were telling a lot more than you were showing. You were just trying, like, you were trying to fit like everything into the story. Where some, it's okay to leave some stuff out sometimes.
Is
Like,
it though? Like, is it?
I mean, there's some stuff you got to keep in, but there's
Right.
a time to let go and say this is not necessary to the story.
And that's hard for me because, again, it's something that I've put time into, and I hate
Yeah.
getting rid of stuff that I put
Mhm.
time into, right? I don't
Yeah.
want to, I don't want to feel like I'm giving up either,
Yeah.
or that I'm putting something lesser than
Did you
out.
save the stuff you cut?
I really, not for this one. I did on Fall When You're Ready because what we cut was a lot of the homecoming week stuff
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Fall When You're Ready.
So cute.
And I did hold on to that because those were cute, right? They're fun and
Yeah.
can be used elsewhere for, like, I don't know, putting it on social media or something.
Yeah.
But I did not, because when I went back and read the stuff that I cut out, I was like, pointless, because I had rewrapped it in the prologues.
Yeah.
Speaking of, let's talk about the prologues. That was weird for me to have two prologues, but I really liked how it turned out.
I was skeptical when you first sent that, and I went, but it works. Yeah. It works. It would not work in every book, but it works in this for sure.
Yes, and I actually saw something the other day on Threads. I'm not on there very often. I forget it exists. It's terrible.
Yeah, it took me a second to go Threads.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, pretty much.
Geriatric millennials here.
Sorry, respect your elders. But I was on Threads the other day, and somebody said that they don't read prologues and they don't read epilogues. And I'm like, okay,
what?
Prologues, I don't know how, if they are as crucial to the story as I feel like mine are, how would you skip them? And who doesn't want to know what happens after the end?
Psychopaths. Why would you ever... Maybe sociopaths? Yes. I don't know what the difference is. One of those.
Psychopaths usually people. Exactly.
Well, there's people who skip to the end who don't, like, they want to just know how it ends.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
No. You gotta read the prologue. I want to read I read the dedications, I read the forewords, I read the appendices. I mean, you don't have any appendices, but if you were there, I would read them.
So. You'd edit them first.
Well, yeah. So I read the appendices of Lord of the Rings, and that's like reading Leviticus. So that's...
Oh my God. No, thank you. No, I will draw the line. I don't do afterwards. I don't do forewords unless, so like,
The Princess Bride is the foreword of the Princess Bride is like so necessary to set up the whole satirical presentation of
and see, book. So that book is the exception to every rule. Like, that book is my top favorite of all time, and I will read every word of that one beginning to end. Carmen says, I read it all because there's a reason it's there.
That's absolutely 100% true.
That's so funny. So I'm going to open up the studio. If anybody wants to jump on and talk about the book, I will put the link in the comments, and you can, if you click this link, it will bring you on stage with us. So just know that this link that I just posted in the comments is an invitation to join us on screen. So if you want to jump on and hang out with us, that link is there. You will have a video on, or maybe just audio, I guess, if you don't have a camera. But the option is there if you would like. Okay, I wrote down one last question. All of my questions, pretty much, we've just kind of talked about. My last question that I had written down was, if you could only read and edit one kind of book, what genre would it be? Like, if you could have your pick and that was all you were ever allowed to read or edit.
One genre. It would have to be something in the comedy
Ooh.
I like to laugh at a book. I think it would probably be like humorous paranormal stuff. Or like fantasy,
Interesting.
like humor. I don't know. Paranormal and fantasy are not the same, but there's
No,
some
but
crossover there. But
yeah.
not like science fiction. I like science fiction, but like that's not what I would want to read all the time. But like I said, I'm a huge Terry Pratchett fan. I do love fantasy and I love paranormal stuff. That's silly. I mean, The Princess
Nice.
Bride is, I guess, humorous fantasy, and that's my favorite book too. And I do take credit for introducing my entire family to the book, The Princess Bride. Thank you to the 9th grade English teacher that I had at C.E. Bird High School, because that is why we all love it.
Now,
Yeah,
all right, let's tell that story. How we all got introduced to The Princess Bride.
So we lived outside of Shreveport, Louisiana for not even a year. It was like 7 or 8 months. And I finished 8th grade at a middle school there and then started high school at a high school there. It was this massive high school. And I was in an honors English class in 9th grade. And I can picture her face and like everything about her in my mind. And I cannot remember her name for the life of me. I had her for like 8 weeks. But the first book that she assigned was The Princess Bride. At this point, I didn't know that there was even a movie of it. Like I didn't know that it was a whole thing. So I pick up this book and I start reading the foreword, and I'm like, "What is this?" Because if you've never read the foreword, it is William Goldman talking about how he came to write The Princess Bride, which is a whole like satirical thing. Hi. Anyway, and so I have it sitting out there. I had read it, and my dad picks it up, and all of a sudden he starts like chuckling out loud as he's reading this book. And I keep looking over. I'm like, "What are you reading?" I was like, "Oh, you picked up my book." So he read it. Jennifer read it. Mom did not. This would not be her speed at all.
Not her sense of humor.
So then we're talking about it one day, and one of the guys who was in my parents' college and career class, when they did a college and career class, said, "Well, but you've seen the movie, right?" And we're like, "What do you mean? Have we seen the movie? There's a movie?" And so then it like became a whole thing. And so then we knew about the movie. We'd read the books. And so I actually I picked it up a couple weeks ago and started kind of every now and then when I have time, I'll sit down and read a couple chapters.
Yeah.
Because I reread it all the time. And I still have that same copy from 9th grade from 1999 at C.E. Bird High School. And that's the one I read.
No, I love that book. Welcome, Kirsten.
Hi! Super fan.
No.
Love it.
She's the super fan. Like, she is the best. Like, she is so dedicated to influencing indie authors. It's not even funny. Like, she is constantly. How many books a week do you read?
Like 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a job. Yeah.
Unfortunately. God.
Right.
It's really inconvenient to have to work between all of these books.
Yeah.
So funny. We met on TikTok. Was it? We decided it was TikTok, right?
I think it was Facebook.
Maybe it's Facebook. And like we just kind of crossed paths. She picked up Fall When You're Ready, and then she was like, "And when are you writing the next one?"
Always. The answer is always. She's
Right now.
always
Right now,
writing.
please.
I'm working on it. So funny. And so then I started an ARC team, an advanced reading copy team, for when Wrapped Up in You, when I finished writing that one. And she was the first one to sign up. She's like, I'm here to read it early. And I'm like, obviously. And so tell us your thoughts on Wrapped Up in You, because, I can tell you I like it, and she has to like it because she's my sister.
No, I don't already
Do you
told
have
her
to?
to.
So my main thought was, one, the peanut farm definitely threw me off. That was like,
What about that?
I've never heard of a peanut farm.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie, I still am confused on the whole peanut farm idea.
She's
Oh,
not
yeah,
from
they're
around
everywhere.
here.
No.
They're everywhere.
And I'm allergic to peanuts, so I don't really
Me too.
I don't do my research. But that threw me off. The how everything played out with said character and how he ended up where he was. That definitely blew my mind.
I love how vague you're being. Like, Don't spoil
I
I
know
don't want to
she's.
spoil it.
like
I hate,
sucking
like-
people in with the intrigue.
Yeah, it's my biggest pet peeve is when like someone says the main plot of the book. I'm like, well, don't have to read it now.
All right, thanks for that.
And look, we have my friend Levi joining us. You're still awake. I can't believe that.
Yeah, hi. It's 3:45 a.m. over here. I just woke up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so thrilled and honored that you're here. Would you care to tell the audience where you are joining us from?
I am currently over in Denmark, which is a country in Scandinavia. So it's at the one of the most northern parts of Europe that you can get.
That sounds cold.
Yeah,
That does
it's
sound cold.
I think right now it is in the middle of the night, but I'm pretty sure that it's like -2 degrees.
Woo, goodness gracious.
Like,
I'm wearing
80
long
degrees
sleeves
at
though.
nighttime here. It's 8:45. It's like 80 degrees. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
it's
crazy.
wild.
It,
Um,
it gets crazy cold sometimes during the winter, so it's...
Wow.
Yeah, like I guess Kirsten, do you get snow in the winter? Yeah,
Yeah.
we do not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't drive in winter.
Right? Like
We have like 4 seasons, so it starts snowing around November, and then it snows all the way until March usually.
That's about what we get.
That's a long winter, and then if it's like a short winter, then it starts snowing in December, and it stops snowing in February.
We're still swimming in November. So.
right? Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if they say this S word, if they even hint that there is a possibility that it's cold enough for the S word, people go bananas. Like it is, you go to the grocery store, you buy all the
They
milk,
cancel
all the
school.
bread. They cancel school if it's even a threat of it because we don't know how to function in it.
No, it's true.
Ooh.
But
I
we
know
can
where
also
I'm going this winter.
because we can also handle 100-degree Fahrenheit weather and be
That's
fine.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
No.
do that. I don't do the cold.
Man.
100 degrees Fahrenheit is like around 35-degree weather in Denmark, and that is also quite a lot. So 100 degrees, that is like you're in the middle of the summer if you're lucky.
Yeah. That's September.
My dash read that on Monday when I got in my car after school to come home. It said it was 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was accurate because my car's.
That's normal.
not
Oh,
extra.
Oh my gosh. Well, so this is fun. I have a beta reader who helped developmentally read Wrapped Up in You. So, and we have an ARC reader who read the final product. So have you had a chance to read the final book after it finally got to you so far away?
Oh, yeah, it got here pretty late, but I mean, I expected it. But
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. It took weeks for it to get there. I was like, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm used to it. I did see shipping from the US. Yeah, that's gonna take a while.
It's a hot minute, yeah. But have you had a chance to read the final copy and to see how different it was after you read the first one? Because you read it before I made big changes.
Big changes.
Yeah, I have read about halfway through, and I can already see that the start
Yeah.
is already so much faster in it.
Yes, you could tell, and that's why. Like it's so funny because Kirsten has no idea how slow it was and how boring it was. She got all the good stuff and the happy stuff, but I was just like, it's so boring. And so when I started getting feedback from the beta readers, it was amazing how we were all on the same page.
Mhm.
This is so slow. Let's pick it up.
Yeah. No, I also really like the prologue that was added. That really also it really does add a little.
It does. It doesn't. It kind of summarizes everything, but without going into all the details. It's not bogged down in that kind of thing. And so, I love how many people it takes for me to write a book. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's true.
Oh my gosh. So, what would y'all like to see come up in the next book?
I'm out on this one. I know too much.
What you want?
The next book.
She's like, I don't care. Just give me the next book.
I don't care. It's just something.
Well, I will tell you. Let's see. Do we even see Wyatt? Do we? Yes. Nash's roommate Wyatt
Yes.
Yeah.
is the character that happens in the next book.
Oh.
The intense, silent, brooding roommate.
Yeah. He's very stoic. Pretty excited about him.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whew. Okay, so did you have a favorite scene? Even Ashley, did y'all have a favorite scene in Wrapped Up in You?
Mm.
I loved the conversation with the bluegrass artist.
Yeah.
You know about me that I love singer-songwriter bluegrass music. We've gone to shows at the Ryman. We honeymooned in Nashville. I am there for all of that. So I loved that little backstage. She had no idea who this person was, and she's like getting all this amazing advice from this like legend of the bluegrass world. I thought that was a really sweet little ad.
So she was actually based on a real person.
I was trying to figure out
Um,
who she was based on. I actually do not know this, who she was based
And
on.
it's in my notes, and I wish I could remember it off the top of my head, but she was based on a real person, and she was like one of the, she and her family had a bluegrass band when she was a child, and she grew up doing it, and she was like, I need a break. And so that was based on a true story of an actual bluegrass band member. Other favorite scenes?
I like the one where he basically told his parents about the contest, and she was questioning about college.
Oh, man, that's such a big conversation, because I know our parents were very much so like, I didn't know college was so optional.
Right.
Like
yeah.
College was expected, and I didn't know that was something that I didn't have to do. And I wish I hadn't, because it was a very expensive detour.
And I love that I went to college, even though I'm not using my degree directly. I love that I went to college. I'm a guidance counselor at
Same.
high school now, and I tell kids all the time, I'm like, yeah, stay in college as long as you can. It's the most fun era of your life.
No, it was not. I did not enjoy it.
Oh no.
Oh, but do you use the degree that you got?
No, I had the job before I got the degree. I'd already been there for a year and a half.
Oh, you kids,
well.
college is optional.
It is.
Um,
I say that too as a guidance counselor. In my professional opinion, college is optional.
Yes.
I imagine college in the US is very different than it is here in Denmark, because not only is college free over here, we have the option of studying abroad for free as well,
Oh,
paid
gosh,
by
yeah.
the government, and we get
Very
paid.
different.
We get
Oh, yeah,
get
that's
paid.
A whole different world.
I'm still
I
paying
wouldn't
off my
have you-
college loans.
Yeah, I wouldn't have all this money coming out of my bank every day.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Seriously.
I feel like as soon as I pay it, it's already due again. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Been done with college for a hot minute, and we're still paying. My kid may be done with college by the time we
Right.
finish paying it, you know.
Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
it's
brother
very
did more
different.
than my house is worth.
Yeah. That's where we started.
See, I got lucky. I did all mine online after like year 3. And online was like $1,000 a semester.
Yeah. That's way better.
Yeah.
My AirPods
Crazy.
just cut out.
Because
Sorry.
in school was 40,000.
Yeah.
Just happened.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Somebody stole my AirPods.
Wasn't me.
What?
Oh my gosh. Literally,
Oh, you can't
somebody
hear us.
is trying to connect to my AirPods from.
Rob?
I can hear you.
Daisy.
I can hear you now. That was so weird. I was like, somebody just tried to connect to my AirPods from within the house. Yes. The call is coming from inside the house. Look out. Oh
We're
my
not writing
gosh.
this kind of books. I'm not editing this. I don't want- That's too scary.
Wait,
That's Kirsten's kind of book.
I might be able to come up with an editor for those. Not me. My mom.
She says, "Bring it on."
Okay,
Oh,
other
okay.
scenes though. I did think I love the boutique scene, and I know I've told you I would love a story about the boutique owner and like how she got her store, and I would love the backstory there.
Like a
She
little
was a
short
very.
novella.
And I thought so long and hard. I even told Ashley, I said, I think what needs to happen is that I'll bring her back for the wedding dress, and she could have designed the wedding dress at the end. I'm just giving spoilers away left and right. Sorry if you're listening. Happy ever after.
You didn't say who's
Sorry.
getting married?
Right. Okay. So I kept thinking I could bring her back at the end. I just could not make it work. Like the story just would not fit in there. But I loved her so much. Like she does have such a sweet story, and I was just like, ah.
Maybe we get like a little side, like a freebie for newsletter subscribers or something. You know?
Oh, look, Katie Carr is my beautiful sister-in-law. She says the story of the boutique owner would be fun. I agree. It would be. She was a good character. What do you think about side characters?
Side
I really
characters
like
have lots of
side
stories.
Yeah.
I like
think-
having this huge world building, and then you can like have these small little side novellas as well.
Well, and I think you and I talked about Jet and how Jet was such a crucial. Now he wasn't really a side character. He was kind of a main character, but I think he was crucial. But at the same time, his little love story over to the side, I was like, I want to see their story on the page.
I love that you gave us a little glimpse of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you had to have Jet. Like Jet was very important. This is just funny. So right now, the vice presidential debate is going on over here, and this is my husband. He says, "This is the least contentious VP debate ever." I think you're on the wrong channel, honey.
Maybe that's why he was trying to steal your
Wrong
AirPods, was so that you could have a little contention. He was trying to like spice things up a little.
Could be it.
He's such a weirdo. I'm sorry. I gotta change the channel for that. Oh my goodness. Well, we got about 4 more minutes. What else should we say about the book? I think the editing was great.
Go read it.
The cover is so pretty.
Do you like the cover?
I like the cover. It's so
She's
pretty.
got one. Mine's back behind me, and the color is funny. It looks orange on my screen, but it's
It does
it's
look
yellow.
orange on your screen. I didn't think.
It
I
does.
was like, oh, that's not that book. And then I went, oh,
It is, but it looks orange. It's really yellow.
I have
Yeah,
my
it's
copy
yellow.
lying somewhere in my other room. So.
Oh, you gotta keep it on the bedside table so that when you can't go to sleep, you just read.
No,
It's
I have
always
mine,
like right beside me.
I have it face out on my living room bookshelf. So with my
Oh,
little
yeah.
sister's willow tree angel. So.
Oh,
I do have a bookshelf in my room. It's just the Danish books I have in my room, and then I have all of my English book where I have like a huge bookshelves out in my living room.
That's so fun.
oh, my bookshelves are full. Kirsten just got new bookshelves in her little book castle.
Yeah, they're full too. My indie bookshelf is my shelves are bowing already. So
I don't have room for bookshelves, and the ones that I do have are double stacked and they're full.
my one's in the living room. Like my thriller bookshelf is double stacked.
Mhm.
All it's bad.
We have the-
Technically, I would say it's
we have the
triple stacked
pretty
because
one.
books on top.
Yeah, we have the pretty bookshelf in the living room, and then the chaos bookshelf in our bedroom. So
This is my bookshelf for
nice.
It's so organized too. That's so nice.
Yes, it's very pretty.
yeah, this is my makeup room. Is what it was supposed to be.
Nice.
I mean, books make you feel pretty.
Yeah. I have my makeup desk across from me. It's fine.
Sherry says, "I'm so excited to go read after watching this. Thank you so much." Hey, I'm so glad you were here and hung out with us tonight, because it takes a village, and I'm so thankful for all of you who have read it and who are going to read it and who helped edit it and develop it and reviewed it. Like, oh my goodness, I wouldn't be here talking about it if not for y'all. So thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm going to say now is that Wrapped Up in You is available on Amazon, Kindle, Kindle Unlimited. If you want signed copies, they're on my website, jcarwrites.com. And with your signed copy, you get a coordinated bookmark that I designed and a vinyl sticker, and all that good stuff. And as a reminder, Abigail, let me pull that up again before I say the wrong name. Yes, Abigail, don't forget, you were the winner of tonight's giveaway. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I will get your prize pack in the mail. Y'all, thanks for being here and being on the stage with me tonight. This was fun.
Well, it's fun.
We'll have to do it again when book 3 comes out, which right now the published date is set for May 20th. So there's that. And I think I now have 2 ARC readers for that book on the stage with us tonight. So they've been promoted to ARC read there. It's exciting.
You can't get rid of me. You're stuck.
I wouldn't if I tried. Like, I just wouldn't even try. Why would I do that? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I have had late entries to the question for the editor.
Oh. From?
This is from one of my other favorite readers, Julie.
Okay.
Julie would like to know, which sister was the instigator? These are personal questions.
Well, the story that comes to mind is Jennifer doing something so heinous that I can't remember what it was while we were brushing our teeth, and I punched her in the chest. It's the only time I ever remember hitting her. But I remember I got a really good spanking for that one too. But yes, I just like flat fist punched her in the chest because whatever she did was so heinous to my 8-year-old brain that I needed to retaliate. But no, she was always the instigator, 100%.
Always the
And she will
instigator.
never deny that. She was always the instigator.
And I sometimes got away with it, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I enlisted her, sometimes she worked, sometimes she didn't. So.
Yeah. She made me eat cat food when I was like, what, like 3, 4?
I wanted to know what cat food tasted like, so I wasn't going to eat it, so I made her do it.
I made my brother eat wet dog food, and he
that's so
asked
much
for
worse.
more. So
No. No, yes. She was always-
Sure you still want to be an ARC reader?
it's such a big sister, big brother thing to do, to be like the instigator.
Absolutely. She also says, tell me a funny story about Jen that I don't know.
Ooh. I don't want to go too embarrassing.
I mean, you know my limits, so.
Okay, so there was this one time Jennifer was in college in Mobile, and we were living in the Gulf Shores area in Alabama, so it's like an hour away. And I was old enough to drive, but for some I wasn't driving that night. You must have been home for the weekend or something. And we had gone over to Mobile or Daphne. I don't know. We were out somewhere, and we were driving home. Well, back in the day, if you passed our exit on the interstate, you had to go to like the boondocks to turn around. It was a good like 12 miles past. And this is also before quality cell phone reception. This had to be in what, 2002, maybe 2001.
2002, yeah.
It was like early days of good cell phone reception. So we are in the boondocks, and we can't call our parents. So there's no texting. We can't call our parents. I think we had beep feature phones too, where it was like a walkie-talkie. Like beeped it on the side button, and you could walkie-talkie. So we can't call our parents to say, hey, we're running late to be home or anything like that. But we drive. Jennifer gets to talking, and she just goes right past exit 44. She's not getting off, and we're like, oh no. And so we have to go like 12 miles down the interstate and 12 miles back to get back to our exit and turn around. And we're still like 30 minutes from home once we even get off the interstate. And our parents were not thrilled with this. And the whole time, like, it's like this heart racing, I'm the good kid, Jennifer's the troublemaker. And so I'm like, she's got to be in trouble. We're going to be in so much trouble. I'm never going to get to go out again. And anyway. It was like a good panic-inducing thing. Oh, and I don't even know that we got grounded. We just were. Did we get grounded?
Oh, let me finish that story for you. We had been at church right? Like, we hadn't even been anywhere nefarious. I am hauling my Tushy home.
And her purple Kia Sevilla.
In my purple Kia. The speed limit is 35. I get pulled over for doing 67 in a 35. It's reckless endangerment. She was like, I could take you to jail. And I'm like, no, you can't. My mom will be mad. Like,
We were both crying at that point.
So I was a tear. My mom, she was like, I don't know if I should believe. I'm like, I got the ticket right here. Like, so bad.
I'm going, if you don't believe her, at least believe me. I'm the good one.
So we were way past curfew too. That's
Oh,
why
yeah,
it was
no.
so bad. Like she had to stay up and wait for us. But I was just
Yeah.
like, well, so yeah, there's a story that I don't
It was
tell
like, it's
very
not
often.
even cool. It's like we were out partying or anything. Like, we weren't even being cool. We were, like, we were just genuinely late. And it just, like, was a comedy of
My
errors.
exit. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
That was a pretty tame one.
Yeah, that was definitely. I got pulled off a church van one time by the
See,
police.
I wasn't going to go with any of those stories.
We'll just leave it at that. The police
You're
that
gonna
my
have to
mom.
tell me this in a few weeks, Jen.
The police that my mom called on me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I need to
I'm
know
like
this
sitting in
story
the
in a
back
few
seat
weeks.
going,
I did not go to camp that summer.
no, that was good. Oh, or there was that one time we were at a church camp and Jennifer got called up onto the stage because she was wearing a Tennessee Volunteer orange shirt and stood out in the crowd. And they spread whipped cream all over her face, and someone
No,
had to
no,
shoot
no.
cheese.
I was spitting. the
Oh.
cheese ball
Oh yeah, so
at
she
a
was spitting cheese
stranger.
balls at someone's face that was covered in whipped cream in front of like hundreds of teenagers, all because she was wearing a Tennessee orange.
Never wore that color again.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
that was a good one.
Life is bizarre. I'd go back and do it again, parts of it, and parts of it I wouldn't. Just like-
I don't want to
Oh
go
my
back to the
gosh.
phone situation. I've never seen one that looked like a walkie-talkie.
Oh, it was like a brick. You could probably like get
Yeah.
someone. A
Is it like the
concussion with
Nokia
it.
ones?
It wasn't
was
Nokia.
about-
It was Alltel, Nextel. Maybe it was just like a
Nextel.
local phone company. I don't know.
It was Nextel, and they were about the size of a walkie-talkie. And it
They
was
were heavy.
But I mean, we're talking. It was 2001, 2002. So
But yeah,
It's
so
been a
it didn't
minute.
use your cell. It didn't use
Was
your
it
call
hard?
minutes. If you walkie-talkied, you didn't have to use your minutes. Because
Right.
you didn't have unlimited minutes either.
no, they don't know what that means. We're old. We lost
Hey,
Ashley.
I didn't have unlimited. I had a flip phone until I was a freshman because I
Yep.
got in trouble.
Oh,
I had a
I
flip
can't
phone
really
with
talk.
an antenna.
say again.
Yeah, I can't really talk much about what happened in 2002. I was 1.
I was 2.
I graduated high school in 2001.
No, I will say, however, I am also the youngest of 6 siblings. So I had my oldest sister is from 87. So
I'm still older because I was born in 83.
My brother was 93.
That
My
helps a
husband
little.
was 93.
Ashley was 85. I'll take that.
yes.
Funny. I love it though. But see, that is so funny to me. You know, like that. I'm that much older. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened.
I don't
My
know.
dad just
It's like
kicked
you were
me out.
here and then you weren't. Well, they were just telling me how old I am.
Oh, yes. you were.
No.
No, it's just that we're just young.
Yeah, we're just babies.
Listen,
Me
in
too.
2002, when I was getting pulled over for reckless endangerment, they were 1 and 2 years old. Like,
Oh, that hurts.
I'll keep writing your books if you keep making me feel young.
Hey, you're like one of my best friends, so like the only person I talk to.
Jennifer did make it very clear that she did not want a fuss for her 40th birthday. Like,
Good.
she did not want like the age joke. She was not having it for her 40th.
Listen, when I turned 20, well, I was 25 when I found out I was expecting our daughter. And we were in the hospital waiting room and I was filling out the paperwork and it was like age at delivery. And I was like 25 and my husband looked over and said, you'll be 26. And I started bawling. I cried and I wept and I was like, 26 is so old.
It's okay. It's okay. My brother is getting a child, and it's his first. He's 29. It's okay.
I was 28.
It was
when I
so
had my first.
right, and I mean
Tyler's
26. Looking
31,
back,
so we have kids.
right. Well, and I'm just saying, like looking back, 26. I'd go back. Like, don't get me wrong. 26 was a good year,
yeah.
but at that time, I thought, how could I possibly be 26? Like that's just so. Also, I was hormonal, so there was that.
There's that. You were with child. Great with child.
Look, we started. Sherry's like, now we need more stories of the author who was talking about.
We did live. So okay, I mentioned that we lived together for the first 2 years of college until
Yeah.
Jennifer and Rob got married. So Jennifer was going to college in Mobile, and then I graduated high school, and I wanted to go to the University of Alabama, and she said, "Well, I'm going to go too." And so she ended up going to Tuscaloosa with me, and we went to Alabama and lived together in an apartment. And you live with someone, but like you kind of have your separate lives a little bit as siblings. Especially, we didn't go to the same high school, which I know is unusual for a lot of siblings. Like we kind of had very separate lives, and so we get to college and she's doing weird things like ironing her jeans, and then all of a sudden she's like ironing my clothes, and I'm like, no, I don't iron. No, this is not how this works. And she was like almost mothering me, I think. But
Why would you leave without ironing? Listen, I want to tell myself.
Didn't iron my clothes, and I was like, no, they just come out of the dryer. It's fine.
I ironed my
Iron your jeans?
I ironed my sweatpants the other day.
Isn't it only like shirts, and then maybe if you have like a wrinkly dress or something like that?
Everything. I
Oh
ironed
yeah,
everything.
I don't buy a lot of stuff that does wrinkle, but I will iron stuff that does wrinkle. So, but
I don't even own an iron.
I know.
Oh, I have an iron. I love my steamer, but I like de-wrinkling. I'm just like, I can't do it to myself. I may as well do it to my clothes. I don't know, but I love ironing.
But these are the kinds of things that I learned about my sister that I didn't know. Like, I mean, I've lived with her for 18 years at home, but I did not know her neuroses ran that deep. But it was just so fun. We should not live together because of that. Like we learned, we managed with each other, but it was mostly because I was never home. I think if I'd been home to slob it up, then she probably would have killed me.
Listen, it was one of the first things I taught Rob how to do. I was like, I do not. Okay, this is valid. Carmen says, you don't iron your sheets, do you? No. I draw the line. I can't even
That's a lot of
fold
work.
sheets, much less iron them. Like,
I can fold a fitted sheet. There's a skill to list on my resume.
Oh,
that's wild.
That is
that's impressive.
I met a lady one time who worked at a laundromat, and she taught me how, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And do I remember this woman's name or why we had this conversation? Absolutely not. But
You are
she let me
thankful.
have a fitted sheet.
No, I'll leave
Does
them.
laundromat still exist in the US?
They
Yes.
do. They do.
Yes.
Yeah. Not as many like that will fold for you. Most of them are like self-service laundromats, but there are a few. I think we have a wash and fold here in Pensacola. So
I don't think I've ever really seen one here in Denmark. I remember there being one when I was a child in the city I grew up in,
yeah.
but that's a while ago as well. I know that there's the ones that takes care of like suits and
Like dry
wedding
cleaners?
Like dry
stuff,
cleaning.
like dry
Mhm.
cleaners, but
Yeah.
not laundromats as per se.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And even people who have laundry machines in their home, like if they have an extra large comforter, it's better to go to a laundromat because they
Yeah.
have the giant washing machine, so you can put your comforter and your blankets in the dry washing machine. So it fits in mine just fine. I've never been to a laundromat, to be honest. I've never
If
been
I
to one.
actually it scares
enjoy-
me.
I enjoy it. I enjoy going to
You
one.
enjoy
I
it?
don't now because we have a house and we have a washer and dryer. But you see so many interesting people, and like you can't do anything. Like especially if you're waiting for your clothes, like you almost have to slow down, and you're not forced to do or find something to do. It makes your brain slow down. It makes your body slow down. You just have to wait. And we don't wait enough in life, I don't think. And so it makes you wait.
Well, that's very true. I think I'd like to go wait at a Starbucks.
Yeah, I'd rather wait in line for a roller coaster, something
I
like
mean-
that. But
But
the
there are
laundromat
so
scares
many
me.
interesting people at a
Me too. Now I will say, where are
horrible sing-along blog? I mean, come on.
I'm from
Not
the
in a
women's
very
team,
long time.
so that laundromat scares me.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is that
Well,
where
that's
we have our laundromats, they are in neighborhoods that you don't really hang out in. So
Yeah.
That's true. Fair enough. They are often in low income areas. That makes sense.
Yes.
But
yeah. Okay. Well, it is after 9 p.m. and some of y'all are probably just getting your day started or need to go back to bed, one or the other. And for some of you, it's way past bedtime. So I'm going to call it. Yeah. I'm going to call
What
it
do
a
you mean
night.
way past bedtime? It's only 4:15.
Well, let's see. It's 10:15 for one of us. It's 9:15 for two of us. So
my kids are grown.
enjoy the rest of your day, whichever time it is. And thank y'all so much for hanging out. And I cannot wait to do this again for the next book.
Yay!
All right. Bye, y'all.
Nice hanging out.